In an utterly humiliating turn of events that no PR handler could have salvaged, U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren took a flamethrower to Meghan Markle's self-styled as ever brand during a recent appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. What was meant to be a lighthearted political interview took a seismic detour when Warren, never one to mince words, delivered a scathing takedown of what she dubbed performative feminism and luxury activism disguised as compassion, clearly referencing the Duchess of Sussex without even needing to say her name. The audience roared in shocked laughter, but the underlying message was clear. Meghan's pseudo-brand of philanthropy is not only shallow, it's offensive to anyone genuinely working for change. It was a moment that pierced through the Hollywood sheen and exposed what many have long suspected. Meghan Markle's public persona is a commercially packaged performance. And Elizabeth Warren, a progressive powerhouse known for her no-nonsense style and deep policy expertise, called it exactly what it is: tone-deaf, self-serving, and catastrophically out of touch. As ever, a brand built on platitudes and empty gestures. The so-called as ever tagline, reportedly Meghan's personal sign-off and now the inspiration behind her rebranded lifestyle initiative, has been criticized as a vapid, meaningless attempt to manufacture depth where none exists. In her Late Show appearance, Warren remarked that you don't get to claim the mantle of social justice when your entire image is filtered through luxury Montecito living, trademark lawyers, and Netflix cameras. That wasn't just a passing dig, it was a loaded statement that shredded Markle's credibility as a changemaker. Warren, a senator who's actually written legislation and fought predatory lenders, knows what real activism looks like. Compare that to Meghan's listless endeavors, a Spotify podcast that fizzled after one underwhelming season, a Netflix deal that appears more interested in image curation than substance, and now the nebulous as ever platform which, despite the branding buzz, hasn't produced a single tangible policy or charitable outcome. The difference between Warren and Markle couldn't be starker. One fights battles in the Senate chamber, the other sells struggle as aesthetic on Instagram. Warren's remarks have since gone viral, with clips of the segment spreading across social media like wildfire. And while Warren never explicitly named Meghan, the timing and content left no doubt. Just days earlier, Meghan's new trademark filings for American Riviera Orchard and As Ever had made headlines, with critics accusing her of commodifying humanitarian causes to peddle olive oil, jams, and home goods to the ultra-wealthy. Is this activism? Warren asked with a tight smile, or is it just curated consumption with a moral bow? It was rhetorical. She knew the answer. So did everyone watching. In an utterly humiliating turn of events that no PR handler could have salvaged, U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren took a flamethrower to Meghan Markle's self-styled as ever brand during a recent appearance. And that's the core problem with Meghan Markle's increasingly erratic brand identity. It thrives on vague virtue but collapses under scrutiny. Her attempts to pivot from actress to duchess to global humanitarian influencer have not only failed to produce measurable impact, they've insulted the intelligence of anyone paying attention. And Warren, with the gravity of a senator and the clarity of a seasoned reformer, pulled the curtain all the way back. Feminism isn't a hashtag, and Meghan still doesn't get that. It's telling that a politician like Elizabeth Warren, who has campaigned fiercely for equal pay, maternal health care, and student debt relief, would find Meghan's glossy feminism insulting. This isn't personal, it's philosophical. Meghan's brand of feminism is aspirational fluff designed for fashion spreads and podcast promos. It lacks the ideological teeth and policy-minded rigor that people like Warren have spent decades building. The hypocrisy is hard to ignore. Meghan talks endlessly about female empowerment while aligning herself with elite power brokers, monetizing royal connections, and pursuing celebrity clout. Her Archetypes podcast, heralded as a platform to dismantle gendered labels, ultimately dissolved into a series of sanitized interviews with celebrities who offered little substance beyond mutual admiration. The show was so uninspired that Spotify terminated the multi-million-dollar deal early, with one executive infamously calling the couple grifters. Warren's veiled critique resonates because it reflects the frustration many feel. Meghan claims to be a voice for the voiceless, yet every public appearance reeks of privilege, control, and performative empathy. There's nothing empowering about that, it's just branding. Meghan Markle once enjoyed enthusiastic support from the American left, seen as a victim of tabloid racism and royal snobbery. But that goodwill is evaporating fast, especially among progressive leaders who actually walk the talk. Warren's commentary is the clearest sign yet that Meghan has lost the plot and lost her base. It's one thing for conservative commentators or British tabloids to call her out. But for Elizabeth Warren, a feminist icon and progressive stalwart, to voice such a brutal critique on national television? That's reputational freefall. It signals that Meghan is no longer seen as an ally, but as a liability, someone whose pursuit of fame is not only hollow but dangerously distracting. And make no mistake, Warren's criticisms were not spontaneous. She knew exactly what she was saying and whom she was targeting. The timing, the delivery, the language, it was calculated. A carefully orchestrated moment meant to issue a cultural correction. In the wake of Warren's takedown, Meghan's camp has remained suspiciously silent. There's been no rebuttal, no clarification, nothing. That's unusual for a couple known to dispatch legal threats and PR statements at the drop of a headline. And that's the core problem with Meghan Markle's increasingly erratic brand identity. It thrives on vague virtue but collapses under scrutiny. Her attempts to pivot from actress to duchess to global humanitarian influencer have not only failed to produce measurable impact, they've insulted the intelligence of their silence speaks volumes. And perhaps they've realized what many have already concluded. There's no recovering from a public reckoning like this. When even Elizabeth Warren is disgusted by your activism, you've lost the moral high ground. The entire foundation of Meghan's brand, her supposed